Another difficult matchup for the Goblins, this time against the very grindy Empire of Dust. Stay tuned.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos. Do consider speeding up this video with the YouTube settings to consume this content or other YouTube content in a fraction of the time.
Alright, so this is Goblins versus the Empire of Dust. So let's get on to the lists. So this version of my list, I call it Goblin Recharge, and it's very close to my latest iteration of the list. It's pretty much the same, except that packs in my latest iteration has been removed. Okay, so what this has for Rebel, Hordes, Trolls, Horde, and a Mincer Chariot. So the major difference between this list and my previous list is that the Chariot troop, Mincer Mob troop, used to be a regiment with Brew of Sharpness, so that's a very killy unit, but because it's so big and clumsy, my opponent often dictates what it could kill. So with that, I downsized it to a troop. A troop is square based, and by giving him skirmisher boots, I was hoping that it could get more favorable contact and favorable melees. And with that point saved, I can squeeze in a third War Trombone. My previous list only have 2 War Trombones. So the rest is about the same. More Pop Launcher, Sharp Stick Thrower, 2 Wingits, 2 Slashers with War Trumpets, Groany Snout with Headstrong Aura, 2 Wizards. One is Alchemist Curse with Inspiring, the other one has Bane Chan and Hex. Okay, and lastly a King on Chariot. So my opponent playing a pretty typical Empire of Dust. The core of it is usually the same, and then with a bit of tweaks here and there. And the core of it tends... Mummy's Troop is an interesting choice, but this is a good one because for just above 100 points, you have a dash 14, defense 5 nerf with regeneration, life leech, so it can heal back quite well even on its own, and it still has 10 attacks at crush 2. Okay, Skeletons, Warrior Horde, 2 Enslaved Guardians. These are your basic, your typical large infantry hammers with crushing 2. And it is fearless, so that makes it very attractive at only 225 points with that life leech to help heal a little bit as well. Revcav Troop and Sandborn Worm Riders. These are an interesting choice. They are pretty fast at speed 7. They hit decently well. They come with Pathfinder, so if bringing one of these units might be a good idea to, you know, for the Pathfinder, right? Okay, and Soul Snare, pretty standard. 2 Worms. These are your flying greater air elemental equivalents, except that they are on they're higher crushing and they are on Titan bases, so a little bit harder to fit into things. Okay, you have a Monolith, which is also a popular choice. This I think is just a cheap Surge caster, right? Surge 5. And lastly, this is Idol of Shobik, also very popular. So all in all, 14 units, 12 of them score, but only 20 unit strength. For myself, 19 units, 23 unit strength, but only 11 of them score. And with that, we'll go into the battle, but first, a shout out to my local game store.
If you're from the Asia Pacific region, do consider checking out Hammer House website for your hobby needs. They carry a wide range of miniatures and hobby supplies, including Mantic, Vallejo, Scale 75, and Green Stuff World products.
Alright, so off to the game. So we're playing Raze, and this is with the withdrawal rules. And so as you can see here, he won the sides. He placed the last token. That means I placed the token first, but I won the initiative and went first. So if you look at the deployment, he chose the top probably because taking the top, he has this forest to shield against my shooting close to the center. Okay, and in terms of the blocking terrain, right, the one that's on my side is a little bit closer to the center, which probably is a bit more of a hindrance. Okay, a bit harder to reach the center. Okay, while his is not so close to the center. So in the end, we placed our tokens, and I can't remember in which order were they placed, but there's 2 of them in this tight little corner over here. While for my side, it's on that opposite end, so it's on the opposite half, the 2 token side. Okay, so let's see anything else to take note. He's pretty heavily deployed in the middle. The side is only just a RevCav. This side still quite tough, so he has a Mummy Troop here, here, and here, and the Sandborn Worm Riders over here. Okay, the 2 Guardian hordes are near the center. So if you'd like to see which unit is which, you can pause on this slide. If not, we're gonna move on. So me taking the first turn, I pushed everything up. I kept the rebel much more than 5, right? So that's why the trombones get left behind a little bit. Okay, and a lot of my things over here squeezed up on the hill so that I'm able to charge off or shoot off the hill. Okay, so if I look at the shooting from left to right, so on the left, my king is on the hill, so it can see over this hill to shoot at this RevCav troop. So 7 shot, both shots I rolled pretty well and dealt 3 damage. Okay, over in the center, my Morpub launcher shot at the warriors. Okay, because I can't see the RevCav, so I shot the warriors, dealt 1 damage. I dealt 2, and then Iron Resolve Aura from being near Shobik heals it back down to 1. His casket or soul snare is exposed, so my hexcaster is here, so I managed to hex it. It's his only long range shooting option, so disabling it is pretty handy for me, so I don't have to fear him shooting as much. Okay, if he does, he'll take lots of wounds and I might be able to snipe it out afterwards. Okay, over here on the extreme right side, my sharpstick thrower rolled really well, blasted into 3 hits and 3 damage to the worm. So at the onset, 3 damage over here and 3 damage over here. That certainly puts some pressure on him with his 2 extreme side flank units being wounded, and his healing source is Idol of Shobik over here in the center. The Drain Life, I forgot what's its healing range. I'm not sure if it's 18 on the shoot and 18 on the heal, or 18 on the shoot, 6 on the heal. But anyway, it's shut down. Okay, Shobik has heal, and the Iron Resolve is somewhere near the center. So these 2 wounds, they're not sliding off anytime soon. Opponent just pushed forwards. Okay, interestingly, he placed the worm behind here, but it's not gonna get any cover, so I'm not very sure about this decision of putting the worm here. Okay, but nonetheless, things poked into the forest, so on and so forth, and the RevCav got onto the hill. Okay, I'm not sure if that's a good decision. Maybe it's better if they just remain hidden, because at this side only the king will be able to shoot by staying on the hill. The Wingits staying on the hill, they only shoot 12, so they can't really shoot at that unit over there. So nonetheless, he decided to get onto the hill where I could see. Okay, so my turn. Yeah, king shot at the RevCav plus the 2 Wingits. So I angled the units in such a way that they cannot be charged by the RevCav by having the frontage blocked by this Chariot King diagonally positioned. This definitely took a bit of fiddling on my part. The center just got ready to receive any charges because I have to be wary of the worm, undead flying worm. Okay, take note, it is shambling, so it's not going to be able to turn 20 and turn its facing and surge into a flank. It's either going to charge 20 or move 10. Okay, if I'm more than 10 inch away, it's very unlikely to surge into a flank. Okay, and over here on the right side, so I continued to shoot at the worm, and my Grony Snark moved into this window so that I could be within 18 inch to shoot at the worm, but he can't fit because he's a 75mm base. Okay, he can't fit to shoot. I'm not sure if I stood down here I'll be within range to shoot. I may be. Okay, so I guess my rebel didn't want to move forwards, probably wanting to stay out of range of maybe the Sandworm Riders, because they charge 14. Okay, one of my slashes turned towards the center a little bit because I was thinking, you know, I could protect the center a little bit through this gap in my forces because of the little blocking terrain over here. You know, try to keep Shobik honest by not being able to stand here. 12 inches is probably somewhere around here by eyeballing the map. Okay, so I could shoot 7 plus 12, I could shoot 19 inches, right? So that was my thought process. So if I rewind yeah, so this rebel over here, right, it moved sidestep so that I could create this pocket for Grony. But what that did, right, was to open up a bit of spacing with the trolls. Initially, I think this gap is less than 75mm between the horde and the rebel and the edge of the table, so my trolls can't be charged. But because I slide it sideways, there is enough space for my trolls to be charged by the worm. Okay, but I did know that I was giving up this spacing, and by angling this unit, I was hoping that if he charged, my rebel could actually see it. So if we go to bottom of 2, he did charge it because he took 7, right? He went to 6, I think, because of life leech. So he decided that, you know, if he's not gonna charge it, it will eventually just die to shooting without doing anything. So I guess he charged into the trolls, did a whopping 7 damage, and wavered the trolls. Okay, so at this point, I felt a little bit dumb because Grony has a headstrong aura, right? But if I were to declare a charge on Grony, then I cannot roll the headstrong and charge the same target, because you have to declare all your charges against the same target at the same time. So Grony cannot declare a charge on the worm, charge in, and then the trolls declare another charge after rolling headstrong. So it's exclusive. It's either Grony charges or the troll charges, right? Okay, so that's the fact of the matter, right? So my opponent continued to shuffle and position himself. Okay, so let's see what happened on the top of 3. Okay, so let's see what I did over here. So because it's either Grony or the trolls, right? And the problem is the trolls will have to pass headstrong. So I still have, if I decided to have the trolls charge instead, I have a 33% chance of that not happening. Okay, so instead I decided to charge Grony and the rebel horde into the flank. The rebel just had a little bit of line of sight over here. Okay, so I charged Grony and the rebel horde. The rebel horde is hindered but in the flank, so that's 50 attacks on 6s. I got the Bane Chant off, so that's on 3s to wound, right? Because it's a defense 4 unit. So it's on 6. Between the two of them, Grony did roll above average 7 wounds, and then the rebel did another 7 wounds. Okay, so with that, I took out the unit. Okay, on average, I think Grony should do 4. That will bring it to 10. 50 attack on 6s is about 8, I think. 8 and something. Yep, and that should do about 5 wounds. So I definitely spiked this, but the average roll probably would be close to taking it out as well. Okay, the rest just shuffled forward. So this is the thing, I have this rebel that I think is contesting both tokens. Okay, and then I have this rebel that is contesting this token. Okay, if I rewind, yeah, I didn't really do much other than just slide sideways. Okay, perhaps I should have backed off, because if I were to be out of for 12 inches from this enslaved guardians, I might have survived another round. Okay, let's look at the left side. Okay, I decided to charge both my rebel hordes to chaff things up. So this one on Shobik, this one on the monolith. Okay, while the king on chariot does a flanking maneuver, the mincer postures itself, and then everything that can shoot at the skeleton horde and killed it. Okay, over here the 2 slashers shot at this mummy troop and dealt below average, but even on average it's about 5 wounds, which still needs 9 once or twice to kill it. Okay, depending on I think he doesn't have inspiring over here. Yep, so okay, so I charged the monolith, right, because I didn't realize. I thought that if I dealt damage to the monolith, it would be disordered and couldn't cast its Surge. So it has a special rule that says it can always cast Surge even if it's disordered or something along that line in terms of the rules. So you cannot shut it down until you kill it. Okay, so with that, so that was, if I have known that, maybe I would have planned differently, right? Maybe I wouldn't have charged it. I don't know. Okay, so oh yeah, King on Chariot burnt that token, so I have two tokens currently. Oh yeah, so this, yeah, all right. So how did I get that token? Let me see. One Winged and one Rebel is 4 unit strength. So when I killed the Skeleton Horde, he only has 2 over here. Anyways, 2 over here. Okay, so burn that pretty luckily, and yeah, I thought that maybe I could keep the opponent out of this token as well by shoving and putting all the combats over here. So let's see what my opponent did in return. Let's look at the middle first. The Monolith just backed off. I'm not sure if it's surged, cast Surge. Okay, but there's a triple charge over here. Took out the Rebel Horde expectedly. Worm killed one Trombone by charging it, and then I think the Soul Snare shot down the other one. Okay, that's quite a lot of damage from one Soul Snare, but that's what happened. And then another triple charge over here. Took out this Rebel Horde, so the Enslaved Guardian, the Mummy Troop, and the Sandborn Worm Riders. Okay, on top of that, the Sandborn Worm Riders being here, plus this Mummy Troop here is 4 unit strength, more than my 3 of the Rebel Horde, and it burned that token too. So he burned 2 tokens in return. This one and this one over here. And on top of that, I've got a little bit of a gem in my hands because my Trolls couldn't charge, because if my Rebel slide, it would just clip and hit this Worm Riders and stop there, and that's exactly what he planned for. There's no room for my Trolls to charge. Okay, and I think probably it's in the flank of this Worm Rider, so it can't charge the flank. Okay, because it can't fit in. So my Trolls are in a terrible position. Mainly because it's at the edge of the map, right? I think that's one of the key problems. But being the second line to Rebel, it's always gonna have this problem because the Rebel is very bulky and it's very hard to find ways to deploy a second line. There is, but there's just limited options of how you can deploy, and so in a way that it can still deliver the second wave into combat. And you also have to consider the opponent's deployment and what they can do. The Mummy Troop is amazing in this one because they're a smaller unit, and if I had Trombones, the Trombones can't see the mummies. Okay, so yeah, burn 2 tokens. Let's see what happens next. On the top of 4, so my Slasher over here could still pivot itself. Let's see. Let me just draw it. So it could still pivot itself and then charge into the Worm Riders. So I charge into the Worm Riders, charge into the Mummy Troop, hoping to... the Mummy Troop has 2 damage, right? So I was hoping to take out the Mummy Troop and I could turn to face the Enslaved Guardians. And then I was hoping this Slasher plus a hindered... Goblin Groany would be able to take it out with a support of Bane Chant. So let me rewind that. Fresh, and this has 2 damage. So I only dealt 7 here. Not too shabby. Bane Chant Slasher should do about 5. Groany hindered, yeah. That's not too shabby, right? So, but that's not enough. Okay, it is 17-18 with Staying Stone. Right. So this Rebel is starting to charge ineffectually against the mummies. Okay, my Trolls tried to maneuver in a way that is in the front arc, but I realized even then still I can't clear this Rebel. Yeah, perhaps I should have just turned and faced 90 degrees. I was a little bit greedy in the sense that I wanted to have sight on these mummies as well, but actually as long as the Rebel don't die, which is not expected to at 1 damage, right? My Trolls wouldn't be able to get in anyway. So yep, I should have just went this way so I could just see and charge the front. So that's my mistake of the Trolls. Okay, over here, let's rewind. whose turn are we on? Yeah, it's my turn, right? Okay, so he killed the rebel, so I just operation shove more things in, right? All my shooting, 2 wingets, 1 trombone, right? I think I got an angle just barely, and the wizard all shot at the worm, okay, with the mop-up as well, but I didn't take it out. But I did angle once again myself in a way that both their front arcs are protected, so nothing could land. The worm couldn't charge any of the wingets. It could charge the trombone if it wants. Okay, and this is the monolith being charged back in the front by Rebel and King on Chariot again. Okay, and this time I rolled hot and took it out. Okay, so I'm running out of pieces over here in the center. He's obviously gonna hold the center, and I'm not sure whether I can hold this token over here. I still have 1 more to burn. We're currently 2 and 2, but he's holding the center. So at the bottom of 4, he charged his worm into the trombone, and I think he snakes it. That's why the trombone is still alive. Okay, let me rewind. I forgot about this. So my mincer, being hindered is not fantastic. Okay, 14 plus d6 with hitting on 5 because it's hindered, and crushing 1 because it loses its thunderous. So it's not fantastic. Only that 1 wound. I think it died. Yeah, I think it died, right? Double charge mummies and this enslaved guardians took it out. Okay, yep. Shobik positions itself to heal, right? He casted heal. That's why it's down to 4. Okay, and then yeah, took out these 2 units. The mummy sidestep to protect the soul snare from getting charged. Right over at the bottom. Okay, let's rewind that. Okay, double charge killed the slasher. Okay, single counter charge from the worms wavered the slasher, so that's terrible for me. Though I do have the headstrong aura. Okay, and these trolls are positioned to do nothing this turn, so that's a total waste, right? So let's see. Over here on the so it did hit strong. No, it didn't hit strong, I think. Okay, what happened was my Grony suit exploded. That's why you can see 1 damage everywhere. Even my own stuff got 1 damage. Okay, and I decided that, you know, the slasher's going down anyway, and that anyway there's nothing to fight for over here. I should be trying my best to get this token over here, and the thing that's blocking me from getting that token is this mummy troop. So Grony charged into the mummy troop in the flank with the rebel in front, and thankfully I rolled enough to take it out, and I'm positioned to take this token over here. Okay, the slasher, I think since the only 1 damage is from the Grony suit, I don't think it passed its hit strong. Okay, and anyway it's gonna get eaten by all these units over here. Okay, one thing that I did notice is maybe he could have this is not mighty, right, this individual, but you could have positioned yourself in a way that this is 3 inches. So my rebel, right, is in the forest, so it couldn't march, it couldn't add the double. So I must charge because 5 inches is it's either I have to stop 1 inch shot away from him, or I can't overlap him, right? So, and then there's this troll. So maybe my rebel could have moved this way, and then my trolls might have been able to charge. So, but well, this is a piece that could have blocked maybe could have blocked that last token. You have to be a bit creative because it doesn't have mighty. Alright, so over on top, I just charge everything to continue to delay stuff. Okay, so the rebel went into the ensnarers, enslaved guardian. Sorry, King blocked the mummies. Okay, and then more shooting. You know, it healed back to 4 and now it's on 11, but it's still not dead. So I'm like, oh gosh, this is terrible. I really need it to die and it's not dying. And the wingets are positioned such that 2 unit strength. The worm is currently 1, so it can't, even if it takes out 1, it's not going to be enough. Okay, Shobik is, I don't think it has, firstly can't see, it's shambling, so it can't add the double, so it's far from charging into the wingets. So that will buy me another turn. Okay, so let's see what happens. So in his response, Mummies waver the king. The soul snare probably shot this and wavered it. And then this winged got charged by the undead worm, but survived the charge, and he got healed. Did he get healed? Could have been just because this unit is overlapping. I think this unit Shobik, really hard to tell. I think Shobik surged into, yeah, I think this guy went to search Shobik into the flank of the rebel horde. Okay, and then maybe, yeah, if it's searched, it probably get to heal first and then he gets searched into combat. Right, so now it's down to 7. Okay, so I'm running out of things to shoot at it with. So this slasher died unexpectedly. Okay, so top of 6. My trolls made enter double move to grab that token. So I'm on 3 tokens. He's on 2 and center. Okay, so it's all about this token right now. Okay, so top of 6. If the game continued, you can see that I'm losing the attrition. Turn 7, I'm definitely going to lose. So I try my best to engineer for a turn 6 draw. So my wavered king on chariot, what did it do? I think it withdrew and then it sidestepped to block the angle of the enslaved guardians, and then the trombones block the angle of of Shobik. Okay, cause Shobik being down here, right? If it turns this way, none of the angles could charge my wingets. Okay, so just by having them like this. Okay, yep, so this trombone just blocked Shobik from charging my wingets. Okay, and not even my wizard. And yeah, Shobik does not have nimble, I think. So it couldn't move past and turn around, right? Because he had to turn to clear 1 inch from this trombone, right? And then he needs to turn again to be searched into me. So he can't do that. Alright, so that was some engineered blocking to stop him from getting the scenario, from getting this token. And finally, I shot and killed off this undead worm. This wizard has a alchemist curse, right? So plus the mop-up launchers. So let's see what happens. On his bottom of 6, yep, he killed the 2 blockages, but there was no turn 7. So if there was turn 7, I would be in massive trouble, for sure. Okay. So yeah, for some reason, did this unit kill the slave guardian by itself? Maybe. Well, doesn't matter. The battle is all over here. So learning points. Blocking terrain is a major component of the map when you are deciding on how to play this mission or where to deploy. I think this is one of the biggest considerations. Okay, so hide your key caster from being hexed. So his soul snare was hexed from turn 1, and then he did a big roundabout around the forest so that he couldn't get hexed again. So I think that costed him 2 to 3 rounds of not being able to cast hex. Let's see. Right, so he was hacks at the top of one. At the bottom, he starts going around the forest. And he went here. I guess he started shooting here, so he started to. So not too bad. He just wasted one round of not shooting. Okay, so your long range shooting can pressure the opponent to commit, right? That's what I did to his worm and the Rev Calf. Okay, so he's feeling the pressure. So Mummy troops are great against Rebel, because they're height 2 and they're very tough to remove. So you can really jam up the opponent's lines. Okay, so the table edge causes traffic jams. My trolls couldn't charge in. And yeah, throw in everything to block the enemy from winning on scenario. So that by creatively throwing all my things at my opponent, he couldn't get to burn my last token. Okay, and that's the end of this game. So pretty lucky to eke out a draw, and if that was turn 7, I would have lost. So shout out to my patrons for supporting me to make all these battle reports. So if you find these battle reports helpful to your journey in becoming a better Kings of War player, do show some support through Patreon. So 1 peep Anonymous, 2 peep Luke Schaefer, and 4 peep Alessandro Serpe. Okay, and yeah, if you enjoyed this, watch another one of my tactical battle reports, or I do have tactical videos just talking about concepts. Okay, do like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, review, all that jazz. I do also have a podcast called Newbie Dice Podcast. You can find that by searching on Spotify, iTunes, and all your major podcast apps. Alright, I will be having an exciting one post US Masters dropping, so do make sure you're subscribed to my podcast because it's gonna drop later this week. And this is the link for my Patreon, patreon.com/newbiedice. With that, I hope you enjoyed this battle report video. Yep, still more goblins to go. Hopefully I can get them done before the Clash of Kings drop. Alright, and if not, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.